everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today, we're going to be taking a look at all of the new multi-chrome pastels that Glam Shop just came out with, and I am super duper excited for this. We are going to swatch all of the shades because when I saw those swatches online, I was like, there's no way. There's no way that those pastels are actually multi-chromes. So I got like 99% of the collection. So we're gonna be swatching all of it. I do also have additional, like 4 additional shades of some of the other just normal multi-chrome shimmers that they have, as well as one of the turbo shades. So we'll swatch those 4 really quick just to get them out of the way, and then just hard into swatching those pastels. And if you see Falco up here, he's got his little ears here. But let's just go ahead and jump into the swatches. So for the normal multi-chrome shades, the first one up that we have is the yellow orange shade, and it looks pretty. Here we go. All right, that is okay. So it's definitely more of a sheer topper shade, and it goes from like yellow to orange to green. So there you can see a little, there's the orange and the yellow, and then as I turn my hand, it shows you the green, but a very transparent shade. So that's kind of interesting. I'm used to the shimmer shades being significantly more pigmented, so to have a more sheer shade is very interesting, but still very pretty. Then we have the shade Goldsmith, which, all right, this one won't be sheer. Oh my gosh, okay. So this, with the way that it has a little bit of a blue on the end with the green, but otherwise this is like the deeper, ooh, almost purple. Okay, I'm just gonna come in close and show you that whole thing. So you definitely have golds and yellows, shifts a bit more to green. Let me see if I can, there, a little bit of the blue at the very tippy top. But just an absolutely gorgeous shade. That's really pretty. All right, and then the third one is going to be the shade Pink Manga. This one also looks like it might be a little bit more on the sheer side. Yeah. So you've already got some pinks and purples, some orange and gold that I'm seeing as well. As I turn my hand, you see the pinks turning into the gold at the top. And as I pull away, you can see a bit more of the purple shift. Definitely more sheer, very similar to the formula of this first guy. So very interesting. All right, and then the last one is one of the turbo shades. This is Acrylic Ice. This is going to be a very deep purple shade. And yeah, so the turbos are more of your like super pigmented metallic shades, as you will see here. Oh yeah. Very pigmented. That is a super strong purple. Also shifts to green on there. So you can definitely see the purple. And then as I turn my hand, you can see a little bit of the deeper green up at the top. And that is a very nice pigmented shade. So it has just like a little bit of a lighter lilac to then going into a deeper purple into the green with a little bit of gold on there as well. Wish that showed up a little bit better. All right, but let's now go ahead and move into the pastels because we have got a lot. I think there's like 27 here for us to swatch. So let's just dive right in. First shade up is going to be Peacock Eye. And this is a bit of a deeper shade. What? Okay, so this goes from like green to blue to purple with some pink in there. You can already definitely see the shift between the green and the blue. And as I come in close, you can kind of see where it's matching a bit more of the purple. All right, already off the bat, just a good start. Then we have the shade Lemongrass. Ooh, okay. A bit more of a limey shade, and then goes from that lime green to kind of a coppery to gold. So you see the lime green, and then as it's trying to focus, you can see a bit more of the copper shade on the top and bottom corners there. Very pretty. All right. Okay, next shade is going to be Pink Kiwi. All right, so this guy is supposed to have a green to pink shift. Yeah, okay. Definitely you can see the red on there for sure, and then you can also see a bit of that green as it goes back and forth too. That's a really nifty shade. Then we have the shade Fluorite. Okay, So I'm seeing blue and purple with a little bit of a pink finish. So you can definitely already see lighter blue to like a deeper blue, almost there's a little bit of the purple there. So I definitely will say that even though the shifts are absolutely there, they are a little bit more subtle than some of the other ones. Like this guy has a pretty straightforward shift on there. This guy is very, very bold. And then these guys have more of a subtle shift where like you have to be a little bit closer to kind of see what is going on. Okay, next shade up is going to be Chameleon. Okay, very interesting. That is super pastel shade, very transparent. Thank you, Falco. Goes from like limeish greenish yellow to pink to purple, but that is a very transparent shade. So you can see the shine there goes from the greenish to kind of orange to pink, purple, but very, very subtle on that one. So that would probably be a good topper shade because it would take like an extreme amount of building up. Or another option that you would have is to use like a black liquid liner, lay that down, and then put this guy on top of that because that would really make it pop. Then we have the shade Lolita, which is a pink shade. Also very interesting. Okay, so it seems like a lot of these guys, their formulas are very transparent. There you can see the pink, very, very transparent. It does have a little bit of a shift, but I'm primarily noticing a little bit of like some light blue sparkles on there rather than like a significant shift. You can kind of see those sparkles just laying on top of it, whereas this guy you can see that shift between the kind of maroonish purple and green. This guy is just sort of looking more pink all around and then just has that sparkle on top. Then we have the shade Frozen Grape. Okay, that's definitely a bit more pigmented. And that one is purple. I'm not seeing too much of a shift on that one. That one really just kind of looks like a normal purple. It does say that it's a multi-pastel, so it is supposed to have a shift on there. I'll have to go back online and see what the shift was supposed to be because mine just looks purple. I'm not seeing, even in person, any kind of shift on that one. So next up we have the shade Ice Cube, which looks like it's going to be more of an iridescent shade. Oh yeah, but very pigmented. Okay, so that one goes from what looks like a very pale pastel blue to a bit of a more chlorine blue and then maybe a bit of purple on the end. Ooh, and then I'm seeing like in the camera a bit of it like a yellow to green, but there you can see the blue as it's focusing in to almost kind of silver with a little bit of some pink. So there's just a lot going on with that shade. That is a very good shade. All right. Back on track. Oh, okay, so now as the light was hitting it, it looks like the Frozen Grape shade does have like a little bit of like a goldish pink surrounding it. Rogue has also now come to say hello. Look what I'm such a good girl. She's like, all right. That's quite enough of that. She's not a big snuggler. So she's a big like sniffer and licker, but like snuggling is not so much her thing. So she'll just be in the background sniffing my shoulder. So next up we have the shade Frozen Apricot. Here we go. Oh, that does not at all look orange. Ooh, okay, so this is also a bit more of an iridescent shade. It's got like, definitely starts off very pale orange to like bluish to then into a pink. Kind of. So you can see ever so slightly a bit of that pale orange, but then more so I would say like the pale blue that it ties into. All right, next shade is going to be Alternate Dimension. Also looks like it could end up being a bit of, ooh yeah, also an iridescent shade. Looks like yellow to greenish to blue. Ooh, also has a significant gold. So like as I'm looking at it, it's green to gold, but in the camera I'm also seeing yellow to bluish. As you come in close, still seeing a lot of that yellow to blue, maybe ever so slight the green, but yeah, you can, okay, it's starting to pull a little bit more of the green on there, but definitely green and blue. And then as I am looking at it, I'm also seeing orange as well. So very interesting. Oh, that guy looks, that almost, as I'm looking at it, that green to orange shift. I don't know if you guys know like the little gummy worms where the one is the green to orange, that's like the sour gummy worms. That is literally what that shade reminds me of. All right, next up is gonna be the shade Sweet Lemon. Some of these shades I think are gonna do one thing and they do very different things. Okay, this is more of what I was expecting, like a yellow to orange. Yeah. Just a very nice yellow, to orange kind of shift. Nothing really unexpected on that one, at least. Now that both dogs have evacuated the premises, I can sit back a little more normal. So the next shade up is going to be Dragon Fruit. Ooh. All right, so in the pan, as I was swirling, it looks like it's going from a kind of corally orange to purple. Let's see if that happens. Okay, yeah, yep. Very nice. Yeah, definitely just a pink to purple. You can really see that in the shine on there. How it looks like the base is more of that coral shade, and then the shift is to a bit more of a purpley pink shade. I'm gonna move on to this arm because we're getting a little cramped on this side. All right, next shade is going to be just Mix. Oh, wow, okay, very bright shade. And this one also has a bit of a green to orange shift, but is significantly more pigmented than that other shade. So you can definitely see the green, ever so slight, the orange a little bit on the edge there, and then also a little bit of yellow. So yeah, this is definitely more of the metallic version of this guy, which is a lot softer of a shade. And then we have Pink Platinum. Okay, I'm expecting good things from this, just from the formula. It's definitely gonna be a little bit more sheer, but it looks like it should have a good shift on there. Oh yeah, it's like liquid. Okay. I'm catching pink to orange, maybe some yellow. Definitely seeing the pink and a little bit of the orange. Not too much yellow being picked up on there. Very, very sheer. So this would be a great topper shade, I think. Or if you were gonna put it like in the inner corner, something like that, put it on, layer it on top of that black liner again, that would be a really good shade for that as well. But very sheer, so you really have to build that one up. And we have the shade Cool Summer, which also starts off orangish and then goes to what looks like blue. Very blue. I am only seeing blue, and then as I turn my hand, a very pastel orange. So as you guys look at it, getting that orange because it almost blends in with the skin. And then as I turn my hand, you catch a little bit more of turning into kind of a silverish shade. There's your blue. Very nice. Definitely more pigmented, comes across as thick as this guy, so very sheer, the one in the middle in comparison to those two. Then we have Pink Panther, as opposed to Pink Platinum. And this guy definitely starts off pink and then goes purple and blue. Oh yeah, very hot pink to lighter purple to a blue. So you can already kind of see that pink to blue. A little bit of the purple is showing up on there as well. Very nice shade, not too sheer. So none of these shades that are part of the multi pastels, none of them have like a very opaque pigment like we saw with these two multi-chromes that are very, very pigmented. All of the rest of them, aside from like these 4 deeper shades that we first started off with, all of the other pastel shades are significantly more pale of shades where you have to really build it up to get a certain level of opacity, because they're starting more on the sheer side rather than on this like supremely opaque side. So just something that I'm very much noticing with all of them. Then we have the shade Tanzanite, which I have no idea which way this is gonna shift. It looks purple in the pan. Yeah, definitely purple, but again, very, very sheer. And then goes kind of pinkish to orange. So you can see the pink and the orange a little bit as it's trying to focus in on there, but very, very sheer. Even in comparison to some of these other guys, it is a very light shade. Then we have the shade Citrate, which is yellow in the pan. Also a bit more of a chunky formula than some of the others. Definitely yellow, getting a lot of yellow. Maybe ever so slight of like a lime green shift along with the yellow into a tiny bit of orange, but primarily yellow and limeish green that I'm getting. You're seeing a lot more of like the in-between the yellow and the lime green. Yeah, it definitely comes across more so as just the yellow into a bit of a pastel green. The orange would be like ever so slight around the edges that I was picking that up, but very, very minute amounts. It is primarily a very bold yellow shade. Then we have the shade Drought, which is back to the less chunky, probably more sheer formula. Yeah. Starts off blue, and then as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing some pinkish purple sparkle on there. Let's see if I can build it up a bit more. Also definitely very sheer. So there's the blue, definitely seeing some of that purple as it's trying to catch it. And then a little bit of pink is in there as well. Yeah, very interesting, but it was definitely buildable. So the first layer was pretty sheer, pretty minimal, and then I put on a second layer and that already built it up more. So definitely with all of these shades, I think that they're very buildable shades. It's just not quite as like in your face with the pigment as I am used to from Glam Shop, so I'm having to like readjust my brain, but they definitely all have shifts. And so I think it's just because like I'm just so used to like this level of bold pigment to like not get that. I'm just kind of like, what is happening? All right, next shade up is going to be Giggler, and this guy looks pink in the palette, but I really have no idea which way it's gonna go. Okay, also very sheer, way more sparkly. So this is more of a similar formula to this guy up top here, where it's a lot of sparkle where you would have to layer it up, but definitely on the pinkish side with like some multicolored sparkles in there. But very, very sheer. You really have to build that one up. And then we have Garter, which is more of a chunky shade. Looks kind of, I was gonna say blue, but I don't know. All right. Interesting. Okay, so for being a chunkier formula, it is very sheer. Looks like it's going light blue to orange. Also maybe some purple in there apparently. Yeah, you can see almost pink on there, but it definitely is like a light blue as the base, so that's a very interesting shade. But also very, very sheer. And that's even with 2 layers on there, that it's almost blending into my skin. So that's interesting for that one. Then we have Candy Glass, which I also would say looks kind of bluish in the pan. Okay, yeah, definitely blue. Also, again, very sheer, so I'm going with a double layer. And this one looks like actually almost identical to the shift of this guy, where it starts off blue, then goes pink and purple. Yeah, so you can definitely see the blue and then the purplish, but almost identical to this guy, just a slightly different formula, where this one's more sparkly. This guy is a little bit more of that like sheer, but less sparkly. But the shift is the same. All right, next up we have the shade Disobedience, which again looks yellow in the palette. Also very, very sheer. Okay, and then this one I would say has a bit more, that it starts off slightly deeper than this yellow shade up top here, that it's more of like a goldish yellow that it starts with and then goes to orange. Yeah, and then almost a little bit pink. So yeah, there you can see perfectly the yellow to kind of orange to pink. So that one at least has a very clear shift on there. It's just super transparent. So it's not really hard to see, but when you see it, the shift is there. Then we have the shade Little Liar, which looks green in the pan, like a minty green. And God, also really digging in there to try and build up the opacity. This guy looks more orange as I am looking at it, but you can see a little bit of a shift to green. I'm like also seeing like what, like purplish in there. This guy, this is what I literally just swatched. Like, that is very hard to see. That is a level of sheerness I was not ready for. Let's really dig into that one, see if we can build it up. Okay, I'm seeing a little bit more of the green on there, but that is so sheer. Jeez, that is really, really sheer. I mean, you would definitely have to layer that on a darker base to see anything with that one, because it is, I guarantee I'm gonna accidentally swatch over with the next one. Okay, next one is the shade Fluorescent, and it is hot pink in the pan and is a bit more chunky. Okay, here we go, over here. Yeah, that is way more pigmented. Yeah, much more opaque. As I look at it, I am seeing more blue with like almost a bit of a greenish outline. And you can see some of the pink and purple on there as well. Yeah, definitely picking up the pink and the purple and the blue. I think what I was seeing is like a bit of a green undertone is kind of that more pale yellowish tone that you guys are seeing on there, but very nice and opaque. All right, then we have a Rose Range, which looks orange in the pan. This is gonna be another sheer one, I can tell, yep. Very sheer. Oh God, you can't even see it. Okay. I'm gonna dig into this guy as well to try and build it up. And this one, I'm not really seeing too much of a shift on there. It's just primarily pale orange. So that is very, very pale. You're getting like the tiny, even though I like the swatch on there is the same size as like this guy, you're getting the tiniest line of orange on there. Jeez, okay. And then the last shade is Orange Acid, which is interesting because it looks more corally red in the pan than it does orange. So this will be the last one. Okay, that's very nice and pigmented. So that's a great corally shade. And as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing blue undertones, yellow in the camera with the coral shade. That's a great one. Okay, that's a good shade to end on. Because, oh man, all right. This is everything that I had grabbed, and I have some thoughts just on initial swatching. Again, I have not used these on my eyes yet, so that will kind of be the larger determining factor, but just based on swatches alone, somewhat underwhelmed given the quality that I've normally seen from Glam Shop. And I don't even know if it's necessarily like a quality question. I think it's more so just the formula is very different between all of the different shades within the same collection, where you have some shades like these darker ones, very pigmented, but the shift doesn't show up in the camera very well. Then you have other shades that are lighter in pigmentation, but you can see a bit more of a shift. And then you have some that are literally like borderline invisible. And so I don't quite know how I feel. I think for the future, me personally, I would recommend the turbo shades, their normal multi-chrome shades, like what we have up top here, which is very pigmented on this guy, very pigmented on this one. Those are more so what I am used to seeing. So I'm a little bit surprised. I would love to know what you guys think though. Like, what is your reaction to these swatches? What are your guys' thoughts? Have any of you picked up any of the pastel shades that they have? I did also grab the 3 pastel palettes that Glam Shop had as a bundle that you could get. And so I'll be doing a bit of a comparison video on those with a few other pastel bundles from a few other companies, just to see where the quality is at on those. And now I'm even more kind of wondering how that's gonna go, because based on these swatches, a bit underwhelming, I feel like. You know, even comparing these to like some of the shimmers that we had seen in my other previous pastel video, where I had done the comparing of the 4 pastel palettes there, these are incredibly underwhelming, like even in comparison to, you know, Give Me Glow or Clarity Cosmetics. Like, those pastels like had way more pop than these do. So that's that's very interesting. A little bit bummed, but I am gonna try a few eye looks, see what I can come up with, see if that makes any difference, and I will let you guys know. But let me know what you guys think either way. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you did not. Let me know either way. And if you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would kick a subscribe my way. Come join my family on here. We talk about indie brands, colorful makeup, judging pastels apparently. And yeah, I would just love it if you would come join the conversation. And other than that, you guys just go have a good one.